Hello everybody. Today I promised you a cooking day, so we are going to take rotisserie chicken, some leftover rice, make a creamy mushroom and onion sauce, and some asparagus on the side. So the first thing I want to do is I want to get the rice reheating, and then we'll also put the asparagus in. So I have some my steamer go right here, and I'm just going to take it like this and put it in the top of the steamer. And I don't want to overcook my asparagus, so I'm going to wait a minute on that. And so then let's take out the chicken. And because today's shopping day, and so I've been, putting things away and getting things all done, and so that's a chicken, and I don't need all of this, so I'm just going to take off a leg, and I am going to put the rest of this back in there. But I wanted you to see it, and that's plenty of chicken for now. And I'll just put that back in there, and then I am going to cover this up with a little foil so it doesn't dry out. And this is an oven-safe plate, so I'm just going to put that right in the oven. And that'll heat that chicken up without drying it out. The rice, if you know, when you put rice in the refrigerator, it tends to get a little dry, but when you steam it to reheat it, it will come back to fluffy and sticky in the way rice should be. So, let's get some of these vegetables cut up, and we're going to do some onion. And I really like, ooh, this doesn't look good. Okay, forget that onion. Let me get a different onion. Okay. I think that onion was in the outdoor refrigerator, which got too cold, and so that's okay. That stuff happens. But I'm going to do a little red onion because I want the color. Anytime you use red vegetables, whether it's cabbage or onion, you're getting extra quercetin and bioflavonoids that are really good for your immune system. So I like to try and add them into my meals whenever I can. Now let's talk a little bit about that plane and helicopter accident, because I think it's kind of, taking the news. First of all, I've watched a couple videos on it, and I truly don't think that helicopter pilot and crew couldn't see the plane. In addition, the plane was on time. It was flying at 150 feet off the ground, which is really very low if you think about how tall, ceilings are, and, that's a 10-15 story building. That's really not very tall. So why the helicopter was, flying across runways was at a very busy airport with planes coming and going and one on time to land just doesn't make any sense to me. However, there are a couple things that are a possibility. One is, within the last year, DARPA has released a upgrade to the Blackhawks that allow them to be flown remotely. Now, they're obviously not on every Blackhawk, but there is a remote possibility that somehow somebody was controlling that remotely, and the pilot couldn't get out of the way of the plane, and it was literally flown into it for a Black Flag event. I don't know, but I don't think it's unusual that the helicopter was there, that it was doing training flights at night, anything like that. I think that's very common. But I don't think it's common for them to be flying that low across the runway flight patterns, especially at a time when there's a known flight coming in to land. And what I've heard of the transcripts of the flight, you know, I think there were two planes up, but you're not hearing any of that in the dialogue going on with the guy in the tower and the flight. And so, you know, if I was thinking in an evil way, that's a really good flight pattern coming in to land right over a water that's 36 degrees. No one's going to live in 36-degree water. So anyways, I think it's tragic. I've heard chatter that there was some important double on the plane, and you know, there's been quite a bit of talk that Biden had doubles and other people have doubles. So I don't know. All of that's feasible. I'm not going to say it isn't. All I know is that these kind of things seem to happen as distractions, as black flags. The other thing that there is a possibility of, and that is, you know, we're putting a lot of pressure on Israel for a two-state solution. Saudi is putting a lot of pressure on it. And every single time that our country tries to put pressure on Israel to split, we have a catastrophic event, whether it be, you know, Katrina or the little C jabby jab situation, or I even believe we had something right before Helene. So I don't put it past God saying, you're overstepping what I want you to do and hitting us with a disaster. You know, making it so that instruments don't work or whatever. Any of that is possible. So, today, because we're doing mushrooms, and I think mushrooms and butter are just like a match made in heaven, we are going to use butter. And also because we're doing a cream sauce. And so, you know, I think cream and butter are just kind of made to go together. I think I'll do just a little bit more. Okay, so, I don't know. But what my recommendation is, you know, I like to follow the news. I like to follow what's going on. But I don't get myself all bent out of shape about things I have no control on. What I do, though, is I like to keep up on what's happening so that I'm not blindsided. I don't like surprises. And so it's a data point, okay? What's going on? And let's face it, there's a lot of people that didn't want Pete Hegseth in that office. There's a lot of people that don't want Trump in office. There's a lot of people that don't want to be deported, you know, the cartels and everything. And so I think anything is feasible at this time of, you know. So take it for what it's worth. Might as well do this one too. Usually what I do with asparagus is I just snap them. But I don't really like the far ends. I mean, the fiber is good for you, but it's just a little bit too much for me. A little too chewy. So I cut those off usually. I think this really is not going to take very long to make. So what I'm going to do, throw that in the bottom. Okay, so on shopping day, I usually try and like I told you, I almost always get a rotisserie chicken because it saves me time. And they're using their power and spices and things, so that's one less expense. I think they're relatively good value for the money. And it's done. Okay, you know, I don't have to cook the chicken. And I actually should have put these onions in first, so I'm just going to put them off to the side. And take the mushrooms out. I'm not thinking, obviously, but the mushrooms will not take as long to cook as the onions, so I don't want them getting too far cooked. And if I don't get them all out, it's not the end of the world. This stuff happens. We all make mistakes. And I'm too busy talking and not paying attention. So, that's okay. There we go. And it's because the original recipe does not call for the onions, but I want them. So I'm going to add them. Okay, so we'll let those go. Okay, those up. It calls for parsley. I don't have parsley, but I do have some cilantro, so I'm just going to do up some cilantro. And that will add that kind of freshness to the we've talked about this a little bit before, that, you know, I really think Trump's doing some good things, but he's going to do some wrong things too. No man can save a nation. And as he, you know, puts his foot down with people like Hamas and the cartels and even the deep state, and you can't say there's not a deep state because they themselves say there's a deep state. You're gonna see revolting. Okay, that's just the way it is. And we're gonna see terrorist attack. We're going to see, I think, very, very likely that we're gonna have another pandemic or quademic, and it very likely will be worse than the last one. That would not surprise me at all. I don't know this. I am not clairvoyant. I am not a psychic. I am not a prophet. But the Bible tells us about the four horses, right? The four horses of the apocalypse. And those are war and famine and pestilence and death. And the Bible wasn't telling us that to scare us. The Bible was telling us that because Jesus wanted us to know he was real. He wanted us to know the end from the beginning. He wanted us to know so we wouldn't be afraid. It's one of the reasons that it's so important to have Jesus in your life, because without him, you don't have anybody to lean on. He also told us, in this life you will have tribulation, but fear not, I have overcome the world. Remember, we're working from a place of victory. And what does that mean? That means that we're not supposed to get afraid. That means that we're supposed to know that we already won. You know, Paul talked about whether I'm here or dead, I'm with the Lord. You know, he's either with me inside my body or I'm with him in heaven. What do I have to fear? And the answer is absolutely nothing. So I think we need to remember that. One of the reasons that I want you to, be healthy and get these forever chemicals out of your body and get the plastics out of your body and all of that is so you're less likely to fall victim to plagues and to malfeasance, okay? I want Bobby Kennedy in the DSHS for a couple reasons. First of all, a man dressed as a woman running that department was absolutely ridiculous. That is not health. You will never convince me that someone that is disillusioned with their body is going to serve you well in a health standpoint. They're nuts. Okay? So that's first. Secondly, I do believe that Bobby Kennedy really cares about what goes into our food and all of the dyes and all of the preservatives and all of the seed oils. And we're going to start to have more choices out there for, you know, right now it's next to impossible to find chips or creamer or salad dressings or sauces that don't have seed oils in them. It's almost impossible. You can go to like a company like Thrive or to a, a health food store. But even then, when I look at some of these labels, they still have way too many ingredients in them, and they still have things hidden in there, like natural flavors. What is natural flavors? What is it? We don't know what it is. So we need better labeling on food so you can make better choices. There's no reason that we have so much added sugar and added, high fructose corn syrup and all of that. Other countries have outlawed it. Why haven't we? So I don't buy it. Okay, I mean, I think I just think that they're taking advantage of our, turn this down just a little bit. So this is heavy cream. The recipe actually called for chicken broth, but I'm going to use a little wine. And add just a splash of lemon juice. Some garlic. And this was fresh garlic that I just put through the little food processor I have. I'm going to add a little smoked paprika. And some Italian seasoning. Is that not? And a little bit of Dijon mustard just for a little bit of dip. And I'm going to add my cilantro in. I think I turn this off. onions back in. Mushrooms back in. Oh, this looks good already. Okay. So, what I'm saying is be aware, be prepared, don't be surprised. But take care of what you can take care of. And the thing you can take care of is your health. The thing you can take care of is your family's health. Okay? So do that. That's why I'm trying to show you that you can eat well, eat healthy, not just for without a lot of trouble, but for pretty inexpensive. Because I'm going to show you that I get a lot of meals out of this chicken. Today we're doing this, and this is enough for 2 people. And tomorrow we're going to do Moroccan chicken or chicken asparagus crepes. I haven't decided. It kind of depends on what I think will taste good when I get up. Okay? So this chicken is warm now. The plate's going to be hot. Just going to do this for right now. I told you it's hot. I tell you and then I forget. And really this is probably enough rice for 2 people too. So I made 2 cups of rice, you know, so then by the time it's cooked up it's, you know, probably 4 cups of rice. Let me tell you, I wish you could smell this because it really, really smells good. There you go. And then you can never have too much butter. Butter on that. A little salt. Still kind of warm. So, there you go. So a nice hearty meal, high in bioflavonoids and protein and fiber and lots of goodies. And you saw it didn't take me very long to make it all. And everything was from scratch. I didn't use any except for the Dijon mustard. And that was just to add a little bit of added kick and richness to the sauce. You don't actually have to have it. So I hope you enjoy this recipe. Tomorrow, like I said, I think we'll be doing